Hey, it's Quadex here, and I'm here with the next part. Get this to 400 likes for the next part. Comment cue any other comments you may have, and let's get into it. Both the Hokage and Naruto stood in front of his parents' portrait. Naruto spoke without removing his eyes. I forgot to ask in excitement, Gigi. What was my mother's name? I'm not okay. This is the chair that I sit in. It's like a gaming chair. Um, it's not comfortable to sit up in it, and when I sit back it makes noises and stuff, so that's why I might move around a couple times. um let's get back into the story. Though he asked just that, Hiruzen thought it was better to tell him her story now rather than later. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki. She was a woman who was fearless, blunt, brash, and one of the most amazing people I've ever met. She was a deadly kunoichi as well. It is her name that you carry, Naruto. His nostalgic. Naruto was amazed that his mother was so lovely, beautiful, as well as deadly. Naruto mentally applauded his father for landing such a catch and promised to do the same. It's a fact. She was from Uzushigakuker, the land hidden in whirlpools. The Uzumakis were distant relatives of the Senju clan, the clan of the Shodai and the Naidaime Hokage. They were feared for their Funjutsu skills. They were the undisputed masters of the art. It was your mother who taught your father Funjutsu. They had immensely dense and large chakra reserves, which gave them a longer life than any other ninja. Some of them had special chakra which they could physically manifest in a form of chains. Your mother was one of them, he recalled, with Naruto soaking it all up like a little child, hearing stories from his parents. Hearing how powerful his mother clan, and by extension his mother, was in Fuinjutsu, he resolved to master it. Only strengthened. His resolve to master it only strengthened. He wanted to ask him why he was made the Jinchuriki of Kurama, but let it go. He could always ask another day. He turned his attention back to the portrait. He could not find any seals, but given his parents' skill in Funjutsu, they could have made a seal that hit all other seals. How do we go about this, Gigi? Hiruzen pinched his chin and thought. There was a high possibility that the portrait only required Naruto's blood to open. Letters from parents were only meant to be read by family after all. You have to apply a bit of blood on the portrait, Naruto-kun. But if something such as letters from your parents is in there, Minato would trust no one but his blood to read them. He took out a kunai and silently asked Naruto if he could slice his hand. Naruto gave him his hand without protest. Quickly and efficiently, using slight Naruto's thumb, opening a small cut. Naruto, knowing his fast healing, would seal it within seconds. Instantly wiped his thumb on the painting before it closed. For a second, nothing happened. Naruto and Hiruzen thought that they might have been wrong, but then the whole frame of the painting lit up, showing intricate seals that only an Uzumaki or Minato could have hope of understanding. There was a small click and the portrait pushed out a little. Naruto, more eager than he had ever been in his life, opened the portrait inside. There was something very unexpected. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end it there. No. Chapter 4. Naruto and Hiruzen stared in bewilderment at what met their eyes. There were only two envelopes that were there. Naruto was a bit disappointed that there were only two envelopes remaining of his parents' legacy, but changed the direction of his thoughts immediately. He was taking something at face value, which he would never do. Perhaps it's the feeling I experienced last night. Emotions are clouding my judgment, he thought. Don't worry about it, Naruto. Feelings and thoughts such as those never truly fade away. You just learn to live with them. Besides, it happens to the best of us, Kurama reassured. Naruto noticed that Kurama excluded himself from the best of them, and rose an eyebrow mentally. It does not happen to you? Kurama arrogantly puffed up his chest and declared, Of course not. I am the Kaibi no Kitsune boy, a being such as I am such petty I am above such petty things. Naruto ignored the pompous rambling of the fox and turned his attention back to the envelope. He quickly took them from their place and checked carefully if there was anything left. Seeing he had taken all there was, he closed the portrait, the seals glowing again, signifying the portrait had been locked back. A sudden thought struck Hiruzen, and he had to resist the urge to smack his forehead for what he was about to do. Why didn't I ask this earlier? Damn the forgetfulness that comes with this age. Hiruzen felt really bad, but he had to do this right now. Tentatively, he placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder, knocking the boy out of his trance. He was gazing at the envelope as if they were the most precious things in the world to him. Which they were. Naruto-kun, why weren't you at your room in the orphanage yesterday in the evening? He asked slowly, as if afraid to find out the answer to that question. Naruto could not help the flinch that the question brought. When he had to told Gigi about how he found out his parents' identity last night, he had conveniently forgot to mention that he had been kicked out by the orphanage. He had hoped that Gigi would not ask him about that. In a mumble Hiruzen barely understood, the blonde said, "The matron kicked me out yesterday evening." Hiruzen suspected that the matron would have deliberately kept Naruto out of the orphanage last night because of the festival, but did not expect him to be thrown out of the orphanage. Why? Okay. White hot anger flooded his veins, what he barely restrained from letting out as killer intent. How dare they? How dare they, that woman, do such a vile thing, throwing a 5-year-old out knowing he would be killed? Why is the civilian population of this village so stupid? It's like they don't trust Minato's skills at all, he raged inside his mind. However, he knew he was equally at fault. He should have never announced Naruto's status as the Jinchuriki of the Kaibi at all. Naruto could have lived comfortably without experiencing the hatred of the villagers. Naruto watched his Gigi's face carefully for any signs of anger. Fortunately, years of being a shinobi and Hokage allowed Hiruzen to keep a neutral face, but Naruto could tell from the subconscious tightening of Gigi's hand on his shoulder that he was angry. "I see," was all he said before visibly collecting himself. Now to address the main issue, he looked at Naruto with a grave look on his face. "Naruto-kun, now that it is out of the way, we have to find a new place for you to live." The words were out of his mouth before he could stop them. "Not another orphanage, Gigi." Hiruzen stared at the desperate look Naruto was giving him. To be honest, he was scared that one day it would come to this, and surprisingly, he agreed with Naruto. He did not want Naruto to live anywhere he would be hated. Unfortunately, that left only one option. "Naruto-kun, that means you will have to live alone," he said silently, wishing he could take the boy in himself. Unfortunately, he could not. The dreaded civilian council was in his way. Naruto crossed his hands over his chest defensively, not hesitating for a moment to answer. "Better than living in a space where I'm treated with bias." He was looking at Hiruzen, chin tilted upwards in a way only children would do to show their stubbornness. "Oh, Kushina, his stubbornness reminds me so much of you," he recalled with a sad smile. He knew Naruto. Oh, I said Naruto-kun did again, didn't I? Oh my god. He recalled with a sad smile. He knew Naruto would not budge from his point. Sighing, he said, "But are you sure you will be able to take care of yourself? You will have to cook for yourself, bring food for yourself, clean your clothes, keep your home clean, which is very hard considering the size of this house," he explained wisely. However, all the wisdom was thrown out of the window when he noticed the look Naruto was giving him. His face was set on deadpan stare and eyebrow raised. He found himself feeling quite stupid when Naruto kept looking at him like that, the deadpan never leaving. He was reminded of another blonde who used to make many people feel stupid with that same look on his face. Naruto spoke seriously. as if he had not noticed how uncomfortable the man was at all. Gigi, when you consider the size of this house, it is clear that that no single person could take care of a place such as this by themselves. I never said I want to live here. A small apartment would do. Besides, his expression turned a bit sad. This house is so big that the loneliness will start to bother me, considering whose house this was in the first place. Hiruzen was surprised at the maturity that Naruto was showing. People thrice his age aren't this mature, he thought with amazement. No matter how many times he saw Naruto, he was always stunned at how mature Naruto was for his age. Concerning his options, he said, "Give me 1 hour, Naruto-kun. I'm positive I can find you an apartment big enough just for you. Until then, I assume you would want to read the contents of these letters," he said, giving him a significant glance, complete with thin down and eyebrow raised. With chin down and eyebrow raised. Naruto suddenly seemed to remember about the envelopes. His hand shot to his lower pocket where he had put them somewhere between his talk with Gigi. He looked up and replied, "Yes, that'll do, Gigi." He left after that, muttering things about Matron and execution. After Gigi left, Naruto reached for the first letter that came into his hand. He read the kanji on the envelope with wide eyes. "Mother," it said, hands shaking because of nerves. He opened the letter. Naruto was pretty fast reader, not because he was eager to finish the books really, but he was forced to become a fast reader. The matron at the orphanage would give him books but would take them away very quickly, which is why he forced himself to become a fast reader. But this letter was read very slowly, wanting to taste each word of his mother. "Dear Naruto-kun." And that's where I'm gonna end it, guys. I hope you enjoyed 2 cliffhangers. I know I'm a terrible person who needs sleep. I'll see you in the next part. I hope you have a great day, and bye.